We spent almost 6 months driving around in this wonderful country of Mexico, and we saw so much. Now, while we only did a handful of drives, we would like to share some of our most memorable ones we did. Now, Lindsay's not here, and I would like to bring in a friend of mine so we can discuss this in greater detail. Travis, do you mind? Not at all. So our Mexican trip started in Baja at the northern tip, and I guess that's a pretty good place to start.
Number 1. The Baja Highway. This massive road starts in a number of places on the United States border, but all lead to the city of Cabo San Lucas. Our first experience in Mexico, we were so thrilled with this amazing drive that it took us almost 6 weeks to complete. Amazing scenery as you drive along the Pacific coast to whatever destination you want. There is more than enough dirt roads to drive if you are sick of the main highway. But be warned, choosing this road may lead you to meeting people and creating lifelong friendships. But if you get sick of the awesome places the dirt road takes you, being on the main paved highway, you still get to experience what the Baja Highway is really like. The open road, amazing water, and just the feeling of being free. There is a reason it took us a month and a half to drive this 1,000-kilometer long peninsula, and you're looking at it. The highway will always bring you to the ocean, bouncing from one coast to the next, often via a curvy and unassuming road. Just as often as there are roads that lead to the ocean, there are amazing beaches. I think we stopped at our fair share of them to either relax or check out the marine life. And don't get me started on the campsites. So far, nowhere else in Mexico have we had the sheer amount of clean, isolated, and just plain out amazing campsites. Some we would stay for days at. There is something for everyone on this amazing highway, but we would only recommend coming here from December to April. It does get extremely hot. But we promise you, if you're looking for an amazing overland experience that will live with you for a lifetime, then the Baja Highway is exactly where you want to be.
Baja, California, amazing place. We had such a great time. It's kind of like entry-level Mexico, but it's especially great if you don't want to deal with the busyness that is the mainland. But the mainland is stunning in its own right. Do you remember the first drive we did in mainland Mexico? Highway 40. It is considered one of the greatest motorcycle drives in all of Mexico.
Number 2. Highway 40. Both Highway 40, Libre, and Quota start in Mazatlán and end in Durango, or vice versa if you're coming from the other way. There is a reason that semi-trucks don't take this way. It starts out calm, but like most mountain drives, don't be fooled. You're in for some views. The road is in excellent condition, so we didn't need to focus on avoiding potholes, and instead on the view. And driving, of course. There are no straight lines for longer than a few hundred meters. You need to be well aware while driving here, as the guardrails probably won't keep you from falling to your death. We didn't see many cars driving this route, for good reason. It probably takes 4 times as long as the Quota route. We did have a single military checkpoint to go through, as this route crosses into a different state, but they let us through almost immediately. As our first drive on mainland Mexico, we can't help but rave about its epicness. You can expect this to be a full-day drive, especially if you're going to be taking photos and taking breaks like us. This route is pretty high in elevation, over 2,600 meters, and there aren't many fuel stations, so be prepared for your gear and for the gorgeous views.
Another amazing drive we did was from the town of Bernal to the high mountain town of Xilitla in central Mexico. You realize you've been saying it wrong. It's Xilitla. Well, I do love embarrassing myself on camera. Let's take a look at this drive.
Number 3. Through the Sierra Gorda Bioreserve, Highway 120. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where this amazing route starts, but for us, it was the city of Bernal in central Mexico. Soon, you'll again be heading up a winding mountain path through a very lush, temperate pine forest. The mountainous road almost appears out of nowhere, but unlike some of the other drives on this list, there are a lot of small communities on this one. Also, unlike the last drive, Highway 120 through the Sierra Gorda is a very busy and it's full of vehicles. But that doesn't deter us from enjoying the natural beauty of Mexico. My memory is still burned with some of the images I have of this drive, and is easily one of my favorites, which is why it made this list. As you get higher and higher, over 2,400 meters, you start to see cities within the Biosphere. Cities like Pinal de la Moles, which somehow this massive community exists on the top of a mountain. And also cities like Jalpan de Serra, which is a pueblo mágico that we couldn't help but spend a few hours in this culture-rich city. There are a few options to get lost and off the main highway, which is what we prefer a lot of the time, to visit some ecological wonders like this, the Poza Azul, and it's near freezing water. And this equally cold pond where Lindsay showed that she's braver than I. For us, a good road trip isn't just about the drive. There are so many other factors, and for us, it's getting close with nature. And this was the first place in Mexico where it was so extremely green. All in all, this route did take us a few days to complete, but we drive slow and stop a lot. We also did this drive in March, combine that with the high elevation, and it was actually pretty chill at night, which is just perfect.
Wait, we forgot something. What? Back on Baja. Which one? The road to Agua Verde, probably the best drive in Mexico, with a stop at the end, that which you don't want to leave. Well, that's probably because of the rough road you need to take in and out.
Number 4. The road to Agua Verde. This small section of road is only about 40 kilometers from the main highway to the tiny fishing village of Puerto Agua Verde.
I said this is pretty cool. The drive to Agua Verde is finally getting nice.
Yeah.
Wow, the views.
Incredible.
Baja is arguably one of our favorite places in all of Mexico due to its seclusiveness and remoteness. And if there's one place that sums that up, it's Agua Verde. This road may only be 40 kilometers, but you'll find yourself going much slower than that, unless you have a trophy truck. There are limited guardrails here, and there are no safety measures, no self-service, and no amenities. We ourselves spent 4 nights at the end of this road. Some people spend weeks. And with no services, you need to pack all your food and water for that time into this secluded oasis. Finally, after what seems like forever, you'll reach this tiny fishing village. Or if your vehicle is capable enough, you can take the short drive to what is probably the best spot on Baja to camp. There is a very steep hill getting in, and it's hard to tell from the air, but we witnessed a lot of slipping vehicles, so 4-wheel drive is recommended. But once here, you'll meet so many other travelers, so be prepared to share drinks and campfire stories.
One more big drive that really stood out to us was from Xilitla in the mountains in Sierra Gordas to the town of Ixmiquilpan. Now, this was only about 200 kilometers, but it took us all day, and we really underestimated how long it was going to take due to the switchbacks and elevation gain and whatnot. But it gave us some of the best views of the entire trip.
Number 5. Highway 85. Already high in the mountain town of Xilitla, we had a feeling that this drive might offer us an amazing day of driving, but we weren't expecting the incredible mountain expanse that we got by doing this drive. Nestled far away from tourist spots, we never saw any other foreign vehicles, but we did see what the Mexican culture is like in the mountainous state of Hidalgo. We passed through and stopped at a few of the small mountain villages along this incredible scenic route. And as someone who is from the mountains myself, I almost found myself feeling like I was home. This drive on the map was only about 250 kilometers, but it took us sun up to sun down, and would have probably been better to do in 2 days. But we drive slow. Your experience might be different. Our favorite part of Mexico was this: exploring the parts that you don't know of or hear about. We went to Mexico with an open mind and an expectation to be amazed by the culture and landscape. These drives, I think, accomplished that. Eventually, the mountains fade into the background as the sun goes down on the incredible Highway 85.
In our 5 months through Mexico, we drove a lot and we saw a lot, and we definitely do not have time to talk about everything we did. And that's right, there's definitely some honorable mentions we'd like to share, like the road to La Gloria and Grutas Tolantongo. While not a short drive, incredibly epic.
And now for our honorable mentions. We visited La Gloria and Tolantongo after our drive down Highway 85. We knew the actual place was going to be nice, but the drive into it was just as epic. Not for the faint of heart, you better have your brakes in well-working condition. The drive itself is only a few kilometers, but we thought it was at least worth a mention.
There's also the mountain drive we took from Sumidero Canyon to San Cristobal de las Casas. Taking the back roads was the best idea there.
Chiapas, one of our favorite Mexican states due to its epic topography, world-class waterfalls, and its backcountry driving. The coolest part of this drive was not actually the drive itself, but while driving through the small cities, the traditional clothing worn by the citizens, and just the culture around the area was worth mentioning.
Then there's the path up a dormant volcano, Toluca, which takes you to a couple thousand meters into the air, and it's only about an hour drive, so it's worth it.
We love backcountry driving, but we also love to hike. This epic drive up a volcano takes you to one of the most epic hikes in all of Mexico. You'll head up winding dirt roads the entire way, clearly entering different altitude levels where trees stop and snow begins. Even if you don't hike to the top, it's worth visiting just for the scenic views.
And last but certainly not least is the pathway going up between the two volcanoes, Iztaccíhuatl and Popocatépetl. This amazing winding mountain path just left us breathless.
Our final drive of this video, we are taking you to the Ruta Volcanes, a very easy and accessible road for any vehicle. The smooth and well-maintained road takes you on a winding journey up a path that leads you between two volcanoes. Keep in mind, the relative closeness to Mexico City means this place can be pretty busy. But at the top, you're greeted with the active volcano Popocatépetl, who is extremely talkative. While you can't hike up that one, you can hike up the sister volcano to over 5,000 meters if you feel up to
I
it.
hope we're almost there. We'd love to hear from you and find out what your favorite drives are in Mexico, or if there's any you're thinking about doing. So drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one. Great, I'm done.